Harper Audio presents If Wishes Were Horses by Robert Barclay, performed by Mike Chamberlain. Copyright 2011 by Robert Newcomb. Production copyright 2011 by HarperCollins Publishers. Mankind has often enforced a savage dominance over the horse, and for that, he should apologize. These magnificent beasts toiled mightily over the centuries to help us tame the wilds, plow and harvest our fields, transport our possessions, even die in our wars, and sometimes under the cruelest of masters. I am proud to say that I never participated in their abject slavery. Even so, I humbly request forgiveness from every horse that has crossed my path, for they are truly God's noblest creatures. Anonymous. Prologue. The news arrived suddenly, its only warning the ringing telephone, as it fought to be heard above the happy sounds of Wyatt Blaine's birthday party. He would later wish that the tragedy had been preceded by some dark omen, designed to alert him of its coming. But no such warning arrived, so there was nothing to cushion the blow. As Wyatt's brother Morgan put down the telephone receiver, his face turned ashen. "There's been a car crash," Morgan said. Wyatt's wife, Krista, and his son, Danny, were seriously injured. The other driver was drunk, and also badly hurt. In a split second, Wyatt's world collapsed. As he turned to look at the many friends who had gathered in his living room, their gaiety melted away. Today, Wyatt was 35 years young, one of the partiers had happily announced. But as Wyatt stared blankly at his guests, the terrible news wandered through the room like some dark predator no one wished to acknowledge, for fear that it might touch his or her life too. Someone discreetly turned off the music. Another caring soul took Wyatt by one arm and guided him toward a chair. Then the phone rang again. Morgan reluctantly left Wyatt's side to answer it. This time, however, its insistent ring attracted dread rather than curiosity. Suddenly, nothing looked familiar to Wyatt. Not one stick of furniture did he recognize. The many photographs that Krista had lovingly taken were foreign to him, as were the strangers who had gathered about him for some reason he could no longer recall. He found himself desperately hoping that Krista and Danny would happily return through the front door, bearing the extra ice cream they had gone to buy on the spur of the moment. Ice cream, his stunned mind thought. Something as foolish as ice cream. As Wyatt stared dumbly around the living room, everything looked bizarrely wrong. The huge birthday cake laden with candles and the dozens of colorfully wrapped gifts suddenly seemed embarrassing and irreverent. His guests were dressed casually, their colorful party attire at direct odds with the deep shock registering on their faces. The inappropriateness of the scene was startling. Morgan again placed the telephone receiver onto its cradle, then came to sit by Wyatt's side. Filled with shock, Wyatt's aging father joined them. Morgan's wife, Sissy, stood beside Wyatt, her hands quivering and salty tears streaming down her cheeks. Her two young children huddled near her, seeking protection from a calamity beyond their comprehension. Morgan gripped his brother's shaking hands. "Krista and Danny were rushed to Community Memorial," Morgan said softly. "They each died on the way. I'm so sorry." When finally Wyatt spoke, his voice sounded frail. "I have to see them," were the words he uttered. "You must take me." But as he tried to rise, the room spun and everything darkened. It was then when he first realized that a private part of him was forever lost.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?